This presentation is about the concept of death and is an attempt to dispel the misleading ideas our societies, cultures, and many religions perpetuate about it. This is a brief synopsis of the longer article on the Sanctus Germanus website entitled, There is no death. There is no death. How is this possible when we know everyone dies? In truth, your physical body will die, but your immortal soul will continue to live. So when we say he's dead, we really mean his physical body is dead. Is there proof that life continues after the death of the physical body? The answer is a resounding yes. What do those who have come back tell us? The following are some of these experiences. I was not dead. I heard someone say I was dead, but I knew I wasn't dead. I tried to tell them, but they didn't hear me. I was out of my physical body, looking down on it from above, watching the doctors and nurses trying to revive it. I tried to get someone's attention to say, I'm alive, but no one could see or hear me. Finally, I realized my physical body was dead. I had a different kind of body. I had a different kind of body, which I call a spiritual body. It's like a cloud or a mist. I could move through walls because this body is not solid. I could float up to the ceiling and through it because the spiritual body is weightless. I could see and hear, but not with physical eyes or ears, for I didn't have them. The spiritual body is healthy. Disease, pain, deafness, blindness, and amputated limb do not carry over to the spiritual body. I felt blissfully peaceful, joyful, euphoric, warm, deeply relaxed. All my worries were gone. I could think of a place or a person and be there in an instant. I died far from home. When I thought about members of my family, I was right there beside them. But when I tried to communicate with them, they were feeling so much grief it kept them from hearing or seeing or feeling my presence. Fortunately, I knew a very sensitive person. When I appeared to her in my spiritual body, she saw me and got in touch with my family. I met relatives, friends, and higher beings. I was greeted by all my friends and relatives who had already passed over. Jesus was with me and told me my time to pass over has not yet come, so I must return to earth. I felt transformed by the spiritual energy he poured into me, and later became more psychic. Before I returned to my physical body, he told me about the special work I would be doing in the future. I forgot about this until it began happening. Contact with a being of light. I encountered a being of brilliant white light. The unconditional love radiating from this being showed me what I can potentially be. This being showed me a super quick movie of my life, of everything I had ever done, and how all this affected others. So much love was pouring from this being of light, it was impossible to feel guilty about some of the things I'd done. Earth is a great school. I realized Earth is a great school where we master personal lessons and evolve to higher levels. Learning to love unconditionally and gaining knowledge about ultimate issues are the most important things we can do. Love makes up the very fabric of the spiritual realm. In order to return to that realm, we must once again become like that realm while we are plodding through this one. Returning to life on Earth. I was pulled back to Earth by the powerful prayers of my family and friends. As well, I had to return to begin my soul mission, which the being of light told me about. How does a person continue to live if the physical body is dead? We have several bodies. Death is simply the withdrawal of the life force from the physical body into the next body, which is the etheric body. When a near-death experiencer returns to life, the soul goes back into the physical body to revivify it. The family members and friends who greet the dead as they cross over to the other side do so in their etheric bodies. Our physical body dies when our life mission has been accomplished. The soul controls the time of our physical death. The purpose of each life is to carry out a definite mission. Once this mission has been accomplished, or has failed, the will to live falls away, and the physical body dies. Life continues with or without the physical body. The dying process has several steps. When the soul decides to withdraw from the body, the process of physical death begins. The physical body is a collection of atoms held together by the will of the soul. Withdraw that will, and death will occur. Death is the result of a soul decision to leave the body. Just before physical death, the dying person relaxes, feels fearless and peaceful, ready to go, and often has difficulty making any mental effort. It's as if he or she is gathering strength to cross over. Both the dying person and loved ones should realize that physical death liberates the soul from the prison of the body and enables it to enter into a realm of great freedom and love. They should celebrate before the transition. The etheric body detaches from the physical body and prepares to carry the soul over to the other side. The dying person becomes more aware in his etheric body and detaches from his physical life. Silence during this process of transition is necessary, even though the dying person may appear to be unconscious or in a coma. Brain awareness is still aware of everything happening. As the dying person can hear everything, it's not too late to say, "I'm sorry," or "I love you." This can be comforting. The etheric body gradually detaches from the physical body and exits. What happens after death and cremation? As soon as the moment of true death has been established, cremation is possible. The sooner the better, in harmony with needs of family and friends. Cremations destroy the physical body and the withdrawing soul is freed. The soul uses the etheric body to continue and is aware of the environment just as when physically alive. The deceased may remain close to loved ones on earth for a while, then they move on. After death and cremation, different activities for different types of people. Those who are addicted to drugs, who are criminal, cruel, selfish, who lived for the material side of life will be earthbound. Their desires force them to stay close to their old environment because the pull of the material world is so strong and the pull of the soul so weak. After death, the average good citizen does not sense much difference from his former life in the physical and may hover around loved ones until the lure of the physical plane wears off. The spiritual aspirant or disciple continues active service to humanity and learning in classes on the etheric plane until he decides to reincarnate. Reincarnation. Eventually, the soul reincarnates, taking on another physical and etheric body of more refined form. This usually happens during the same month as the death of his previous incarnation. As well, the next life will include favorite aspects of our current life. 3 major aspects of this life will act as seeds for our next life. One seed will determine the future physical environment to which we'll return. One will determine the quality of our etheric body and which of the 7 energy centers will be most active. And one will bring us into contact with people and groups we love in this life. So our next life on earth will be a continuation of this one. At the time of his next incarnation, the soul, clothed in a more evolved body, will plunge again into physical life until the new personality learns all the necessary lessons that earth has to offer. Death in old age and infancy, when the body is useless. Frequently, doctors and nurses try to preserve physical lives at all costs. Nature, if left to herself, would extinguish them when the time comes. Because of our overemphasis on the value of physical life, our fear of death, and our uncertainty about the fact of immortality, we sometimes interfere with natural processes and hold the life which is struggling to be free, confined to a body quite unfit for the purpose of the soul. This prolonging of life is often due to the desires of the family and friends, and not to the person in question, who is often an unconscious invalid, an elderly person who is no longer communicative, or a baby who is not normal. There is value in remembering the reports of near-death experiencers, that at death they were happy and restored to fully healthy spiritual bodies. In summary, our ideas about death are replete with error. We have looked upon it as something to be avoided and feared. In reality, we should look at death as the great liberation, the release of the living soul from the prison of the body into a dimension of love and freedom.